Ethan Campbell saw the woman walk straight into the Gulf of Mexico, fully dressed, business heels still on, eyes fixed on nothing. She didn't stop when the water hit her knees. She didn't stop when it hit her chest. He dropped his coffee, shouted his son's name, and sprinted across the hot sand. By the time he reached her, she was already going under. What Ethan didn't know, as he dragged her limp body back to shore, was that the stranger in his arms was a billionaire CEO, and the words she would whisper through salt water and tears would dismantle every wall he had built around his heart. Before we go any further, drop the city you're watching from in the comments. I want to see how far Ethan and Claire's story travels today. And if you believe two broken people can still save each other when the world has stopped looking, hit that subscribe button and stay with me until the very last breath of part 5. Ethan spit salt water out of his mouth and pressed 2 fingers against the woman's neck. Come on, come on. Her pulse was there. Weak, fluttering, but there. Dad. Tyler was running down the beach, small feet kicking up sand flip-flops, forgotten somewhere behind him. Ethan didn't turn his head. Stay back, buddy. Stay right there. Is she dead? No, she's not dead. Just stay where you are. Don't come any closer. The woman coughed, hard. Her whole body convulsed, and she rolled onto her side, water pouring from her mouth onto the wet sand. Ethan held her shoulder, kept her steady. That's it. Get it all out, every bit of it. She gasped, retched, gasped again. Her fingers scraped at the sand like she was trying to climb something, and Ethan caught her under the arm. Easy, easy now. You're all right. You hear me? You're all right. Don't talk yet. Just breathe. She tried to sit up. Her arms gave out. Ethan caught her against his chest, and for a moment she went limp there. Her wet hair against his bare shoulder, her body shaking so hard it rattled his ribs. Tyler inched closer. Dad, her shoes are still on. I know, bud. Why are her shoes still on in the water? I don't know, Tyler. That's weird. I know. The woman's eyes opened, pale gray-green, unfocused, ringed with the smudged remains of makeup the ocean had ruined. She looked at Ethan like she didn't know what a face was. Who? Name's Ethan. Ethan Campbell. You walked into the water. You don't remember? She stared at him. I'm gonna call 911. All right, just stay still. Don't move. No. Her hand caught his wrist, wet, cold, and surprisingly strong. Don't. Ma'am, you just... Please. Her voice cracked. Please don't. A crowd was gathering up the beach. Ethan could see them out of the corner of his eye, a man in a Tampa Bay Rays shirt pointing a teenage girl with her phone already out, an older couple hurrying in from the shoreline. He shifted his body just enough to block their line of sight. Tyler, our towel, the big blue one. Bring it here fast. Don't run, don't fall, just move quick. Okay, Dad. Tyler took off. Ethan turned back to the woman. Listen to me. You don't want 911, fine, but I am not leaving you on this beach. You understand me? I'm fine. Ma'am, you are not fine. You walked into the Gulf in a business suit. She closed her eyes. Her mouth trembled. I didn't what? I didn't mean to. Tyler came back with the towel, panting. Ethan took it, wrapped it around the woman's shoulders, pulled the edges up around her neck. Tyler, I need you to do something big for me, okay? Grown up big. Okay. Go get my flip-flops, and the cooler. Bring them both. Can you do that? Yes. Go. Tyler sprinted off. Ethan crouched in front of the woman, keeping his voice low. Those people up there are about to start taking pictures. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. But if you don't want your face on the internet in 20 minutes, we need to move. Can you stand? She nodded. She tried. Couldn't. All right. Arm around my neck. I got you. I'm heavy. Ma'am, I frame houses for a living. Arm around my neck. She laughed. It came out broken, half a sob. She put her arm around his neck, and he stood lifting her like he was picking Tyler up off the couch. The towel slid down her back, and he hitched it up with his elbow. What's your name? Claire. Claire what? A pause. Just Claire. Okay, just Claire. We're walking to my truck. You're gonna lean on me the whole way. I put you in the passenger seat, you drink some water, and we talk about what just happened. That all right with you? I can't go anywhere with you. I don't know you. That's fair, you don't. But I just pulled you out of the Gulf, and you're not making a lot of sense yet. So the way I see it, we've got 3 options. 1, I call 911. 2, I call the cops. 3, I sit you down somewhere with shade and water until you remember how to stand. You pick. She was quiet for a long second. 3. 3 it is. 3 it. Tyler came back dragging the cooler with both hands red-faced with effort. Ethan smiled at him over Claire's shoulder. That's my guy. Grab my keys out of the beach bag too. Already did. You're a genius. I know. They walked, slow. Claire's legs gave out twice, and both times Ethan just tightened his grip and kept moving. The people up the beach watched them go. Somebody shouted something Ethan didn't hear, and he didn't turn around. At the truck, he opened the passenger door and eased her onto the seat. She sat there with the towel pulled up to her chin, shivering hard. Getting the AC on heat, then water. Don't move. Okay. Tyler, buckle up in the back. Is she coming home with us? No, bud, we're just sitting here a minute. Ethan slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. He cranked the air to warm, pointed the vents at her, popped the cooler, and pulled out a bottle of water. Small sips. You chug it, you're gonna throw up. She took the bottle. Her hand shook so badly she couldn't get the cap off. Ethan reached over, cracked the seal, handed it back. Thank you. You got it. She drank. Tiny sips. Her eyes were on the dashboard, not on him. Tyler leaned forward between the seats. Miss, did you try to drown yourself? Tyler. What you said, we ask questions when we want answers. That is not the kind of question you ask, bud. That is a grown-up question, and it is private. Sit back. Tyler sat back. Claire exhaled slowly. It's okay. Her voice was still raspy. I don't think I tried to. I don't remember walking into the water. What do you remember? Sitting in my car. She swallowed. I got here yesterday. I've been sitting in the parking lot for I don't know how long. This morning I walked down to the sand. I was going to put my feet in, that's all. And then, she stopped. And then I heard you yelling. Ethan was quiet a minute. You lost time. I guess so. When's the last time you slept? She laughed, no humor in it. What day is it? Saturday. Then Wednesday, maybe Tuesday night, I don't know. Claire, I know. When's the last time you ate? She thought about it, actually thought like it was a math problem. There was a granola bar, in the airport, Thursday. Jesus. Dad, you said a bad word. Sorry, bud. Ethan ran his hand down his face. His fingertips smelled like salt, and her shampoo, something expensive and floral that didn't belong anywhere near the Gulf. Okay, here's what's happening. I'm driving you to a diner about 10 minutes from here. Clean, quiet booths in the back. Nobody bothers nobody. You eat a plate of eggs. You drink a glass of orange juice. You tell me who I should call to come get you. And until that person shows up, you are not leaving my sight. You understand? I don't have anyone to call. You have somebody. I don't. Claire, everybody has somebody. She turned her head and looked at him. Really looked at him for the first time. Her eyes were red-rimmed, the whites pink with broken blood vessels. I run a company with 9,000 employees. I have a personal assistant, 2 attorneys, a driver, a housekeeper, and a board of directors. Her voice was flat, level. I have nobody to call. Ethan stared at her. From the back seat, Tyler said, That's really sad. Yeah, bud. Ethan didn't look away from her. That is really sad. Claire's jaw clenched. She turned her head toward the window. Her shoulders lifted, trembled once, and she pressed her hand hard against her mouth like she was trying to keep something from escaping. Ethan reached into the glove box, pulled out a pack of napkins, set them on her lap. He didn't say anything. He put the truck in drive. The diner was called Gulf and Egg. Ethan had been eating there since he was Tyler's age. The hostess was a woman named Rhonda, who had known his mother, and she took one look at Claire and led them to a corner booth in the back without asking a single question. "Coffee, hon?" Rhonda said to Claire, sliding menus onto the table. Claire nodded. Couldn't speak. "2 coffees," Ethan said. "Orange juice for the lady, chocolate milk for my guy, short stack with bacon for him, Western omelet for me, and—" He glanced at Claire. "Scrambled eggs, wheat toast, hash brown side of fruit for her. Easy on everything." "You got it, sweetheart." Rhonda left. Claire looked at the menu like she didn't know what it was for. "You just ordered for me." "Yeah. Nobody's ordered for me in 20 years. Maybe somebody should have." She laughed. It was thin, but it was a real laugh this time. Tyler was coloring on the paper placemat with a crayon Rhonda had left. He looked up. "Miss Claire?" "Yes." "Do you have kids?" "No, I don't." "Do you want some—" "Tyler." "What, I'm being nice." Claire smiled. It was the first full smile Ethan had seen on her, and it changed her whole face. "I don't know, Tyler. I never had the time. For kids. For anything." "That's sad too." "Bud, eat your bacon when it comes." "I will." Claire wrapped both her hands around the coffee mug when Rhonda brought it. She didn't drink, just held it like it was something warm she hadn't touched in a long time. "Can I ask you something, Ethan?" "Yeah." "Why did you run?" "Excuse me." "When you saw me. You said you dropped your coffee and ran. You didn't know me. You didn't know I was anything. Why did you run?" Ethan looked at his hands, worked a callus on his thumb with his index finger. "My wife walked into the ocean once." Claire went still. She didn't mean to either. It was 3 in the morning, she was sleepwalking, and I caught her before she got past her ankles. That was 6 months before she died. Brain tumor. The sleepwalking was one of the first signs. We just didn't know it yet. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I'm not telling you so you feel sorry. I'm telling you because when I saw you this morning, my body moved before my head did. 8 years later, and my body still remembers the shape of a woman walking into water. That's all. It wasn't heroic. It was a reflex." "Dad, you are heroic." "Thanks, bud. Eat your pancakes." "They're not here yet." "When they get here." Claire was crying again, silently. The tears just slid down her face and into the coffee. Claire. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't do this. I don't cry. I haven't cried since when?" She laughed, wet and broken. "Since my father's funeral. 1998. Jesus. He was the only person who ever—" She shook her head. "I can't do this. I need to go." She started to slide out of the booth. "Claire, sit down." "I can't." "Sit down. You haven't eaten. You're still not right. Please sit down." She sat. Ethan leaned his elbows on the table and kept his voice low. "I'm gonna say something and you can tell me I'm wrong." "Okay. You came to Florida because somebody told you to. Somebody said you were gonna break, and you thought if you could just sit on a beach for a couple days, you could prove them wrong. Get back to your life. But you got here and you realized you couldn't remember why you were trying so hard anymore. So you sat in a parking lot for a day and a half, didn't eat, didn't sleep. And this morning you walked into the Gulf with your shoes on because your body wanted to do something and your head had stopped telling it what." Claire stared at him. "How?" "My wife. Different thing, same look." I wasn't trying to." "I know you weren't. I believe you. Your body was wrung out. Your mind checked out for a minute. That's what happens to people who don't sleep and don't eat for 4 days. Nobody's gonna lock you up. Nobody's gonna put this on the news." Okay. Now, who told you you were gonna break?" Long pause. "My doctor." "And And my board of directors. Your board told you to take a vacation. They told me to take a sabbatical. How long? 6 months. Claire. I know. 6 months. And they told you when? Tuesday. And you flew here when? Thursday. Alone. I live alone. I came alone. Rhonda arrived with the food. She set the plates down without a word and squeezed Claire's shoulder once on her way past. Claire flinched, then relaxed. Eat, Ethan said. I don't think I can. Small bites. Start with the toast. She picked up a piece of toast, tore off a corner, chewed. There you go. Tyler, through a mouthful of pancakes, said, Miss Claire, you can come to our house. Bud. What? We have the guest room. Nobody's in it. That's not. She doesn't have anybody to call Dad. You said everybody has somebody, but she said she doesn't, so she can come to our house. Claire set the toast down. Ethan rubbed his forehead. Tyler, that's a kind thing to say, but Miss Claire is a grown-up, and she has a hotel, and I don't have a hotel. Ethan looked at her. What? I was going to book one. I didn't. Where's your stuff? In my car. In the beach parking lot. Yes. Claire. I know. He sat back in the booth, ran both hands through his hair, looked at the ceiling, looked at his son who was watching him with enormous, serious eyes over a forkful of pancake, looked at the woman across from him who had a piece of toast in one hand and was shaking again, not from cold this time, from something else. His phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. Florida area code. He let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again. Same number. You gonna answer that? No. It stopped. Then a text popped up on the screen face up, where both of them could see it. Claire Ashford. If anyone has seen this woman today in the Clearwater Beach area, please call this number immediately. Significant reward offered. Discretion guaranteed. A photo was attached. A corporate headshot. Sharp suit. Sharp hair. Sharp smile. Claire stared at the screen. Her face went white. They found me. Who? My head of security. My board. I don't know who sent that. Somebody put it out. Somebody's looking. Reward. They think something's wrong. Something is wrong, Claire. They'll pull me off the board. They'll use this. Ethan, do you understand what this is? No. It's a story. It's a story they can tell. CEO had a breakdown. My company, my stock. I have $3.2 billion of my own money in that company. And if that text gets forwarded one time, Claire, if that text gets forwarded, I am done. Everything my father built, Claire. She stopped. He leaned forward. $3.2 billion. Yes. Of your own money. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's a lot of money. Yes. That is none of my business. What? That is none of my business. You asked me why I ran. I ran because my body remembered. I did not run because you had money. I did not pull you out of the Gulf because you were a CEO. I would have pulled a homeless woman out of that water. I would have pulled my worst enemy out. So here's what's going to happen. He slid his phone across the table. You pick up this phone. You text that number back. You say I am safe. I am with someone. I will call you in 24 hours. That's it. No more, no less. You don't tell them where you are. You don't tell them who I am. You buy yourself a day. You eat this food. You come to my house. You sleep in my guest room. And tomorrow, when your head is on straight, you decide what you want to do next. As a person. Not as somebody's CEO. Okay. Ethan. Okay. I can't impose. You're not imposing. My son invited you. I'm agreeing with my son. It's a democracy in my house. 2 against 1. Tyler raised both hands. 2 against 0. You're outnumbered. Tyler let her think. Claire looked at the phone. She looked at Ethan. She looked at Tyler, who was chewing pancakes and watching her like she was a rescue dog his dad had promised to foster. Her hand still shaking picked up the phone. She typed. She hit send. She set the phone down and let out a breath she had maybe been holding for 4 days. Ethan. Yeah. Why are you doing this? He picked up his coffee, took a long sip, set it down slow. Because my wife walked into water once and I didn't save her from what came after. I only saved her from the water. And I have been waking up for 8 years wondering what might have been different if somebody had stopped her earlier. If somebody had said, sit down, eat, breathe. Maybe nothing. It was a tumor. A tumor doesn't care. But maybe. And maybe is enough to make a man run across a beach for a stranger. You understand me? She nodded. She couldn't speak. Eat your eggs, Claire. She picked up her fork. Tyler, because he was 7, said, Miss Claire, do you like dogs? Yes, I've always wanted one. We don't have one, but my friend Jackson has one named Biscuit. You can meet Biscuit. I'd like that. He's a golden retriever, but he's old, so he just lies around, but he likes it when you scratch behind his ears. That sounds perfect. Okay. Claire put a piece of egg in her mouth, chewed, swallowed, closed her eyes for a second, like she was trying to remember what food tasted like. Ethan watched her. He was 31 years old. He had been a widower for 8 years and a single father for 7. He had not brought a woman home once in that whole time. Not one. He had not let anyone close enough to see Tyler in his pajamas, or hear Tyler sing the brushing teeth song, or know that on Sunday nights, Ethan still made his wife's lasagna recipe because Tyler asked him to. And now there was a billionaire in his booth, eating wheat toast with her hands shaking, and his son had offered her the guest room, and Ethan had not said no. He didn't know why he hadn't said no. He drank his coffee. Rhonda came by with the check. He put cash down without looking at it. You ready? He said. Claire nodded. All right. Tyler, grab your crayons. Claire, lean on my arm if you need to. We're going to go pick up your car, then we're going to go home. Home, she repeated. Quiet, like she was testing the shape of the word. Yeah, Ethan said. Home. And she stood up and she put her hand on his arm, and Tyler slid out of the booth and took her other hand without being asked, and the 3 of them walked out of Gulf and Egg into the white Florida afternoon. A single dad, a 7-year-old boy, and a woman who had walked into the Gulf that morning believing there was no one in the whole world who would come for her. She had been wrong about that. The parking lot at Clearwater Beach had thinned out by the time Ethan pulled in behind Claire's rental. A black Mercedes spotless keys, still in the ignition driver's door, unlocked. Claire? I know. Your keys are in it. I know. Anybody could have. I know Ethan. He put his truck in park. Tyler was half asleep in the back seat, head against the window. You okay to drive? Yes. Claire. I can drive 10 miles, I promise. You follow me close. You stay right on my bumper. Red light, you're next to me. You lose me, you pull over, and you wait. Phone. Dead. Of course it is. Okay. My address is 1712 Bayshore Court. You say it back. 1712 Bayshore Court. Again. 1712 Bayshore Court. Ethan. I'm functional. I ran a $2 billion acquisition on 3 hours of sleep last month. Yeah, and look how that worked out. She almost smiled. Follow me. She got out, walked to her car on legs that were still unsteady, but not giving out anymore. She closed the Mercedes door, and through the tinted window, Ethan watched her grip the steering wheel with both hands, bow her head for a second, and breathe. Then her headlights came on. He pulled out. She stayed with him. Tyler stirred in the back. Is she following us? Yeah, bud. Good. You tired? No. You're tired. Dad, is she going to be okay? Ethan watched her headlights in the rear view. I hope so, bud. Because she was really sad. I know. Sadder than you were. Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel. What's that mean? When Mom died, you were sad, but you had me. She doesn't have anybody. Tyler. What? You are something else. You know that. Mrs. Henderson said that at parent-teacher. Mrs. Henderson was right. The drive was 10 minutes. Ethan lived in a small 3-bedroom bungalow on a quiet street where the neighbors waved when you pulled in, and the mailman knew everyone by name. He pulled into the driveway and watched Claire park behind him on the street. She sat in the car for a long moment before getting out. "Dad, should I show her the guest room?" "Give her a minute, bud. Go put your beach stuff in the laundry room. Actually, in the laundry room this time, not on top of the laundry room." "Okay." Tyler scrambled out. Ethan got out slower, walked around to Claire's car and tapped on the window. She rolled it down. "You coming in, Ethan? Don't." "Don't what?" "Don't try to leave. I can see it on your face. You've been sitting here for 30 seconds trying to figure out a polite way to say you're going to drive to a hotel." "I can get a hotel." "You can, but you won't, because you haven't slept in 4 days, and the second you're alone in a hotel room, your brain is going to eat you alive. I know that look. Come inside." She stared at the steering wheel. "My suitcase is in the trunk." "I'll get it. I can—" "Claire, I will get the suitcase." She nodded, got out. The suitcase was a Louis Vuitton bag that probably cost more than his truck. He lifted it out, hitched it onto his shoulder, and led her up the front walk. "The house isn't fancy." "Ethan, I'm just saying. I don't care." "I know you don't. I'm telling you anyway." She followed him inside. The living room was small. A worn leather couch, a TV Tyler had decorated with Pokemon stickers, a bookshelf with framed photos on the top, a wedding photo Tyler's first day of kindergarten, a woman with curly dark hair laughing on a dock. Claire's eyes went to the woman and stayed there a second too long. "That's Sarah. She's beautiful." "Yeah." Tyler came thundering back through. "Miss Claire, do you want to see my room?" "Bud, give her a second." "It's okay," Claire said. "I'd love to see your room, Tyler." "It's got glow-in-the-dark stars." "Does it?" "Real ones. Well, plastic, but they glow for real." "Lead the way." She followed him down the hall. Ethan stood in his living room with a Billionaire's suitcase on his shoulder and no idea what he was doing. He put the bag down by the guest room door, ran his hand across the back of his neck, walked into the kitchen, leaned his palms against the counter, and stared at the coffee stain shaped like Florida that Tyler had made 6 weeks ago and refused to let him scrub off because it looks like home, Dad. The guest room had been Sarah's sewing room once. After she died, he had boxed up her fabric and her patterns and her half-finished quilt for Tyler, and he had repainted the walls a soft cream, and he had put a double bed in there with a quilt his mother-in-law had made them for their wedding. Nobody had slept in that bed in 7 years. His in-laws stayed at the Hilton when they visited. His sister stayed at a friend's. Nobody had ever needed that room. He heard Tyler talking in his own bedroom down the hall. Then Claire's voice, soft, asking questions. His phone buzzed. His sister. "Dad said you and Tyler were coming for dinner. He's starting to cook. You still coming or what?" Ethan stared at the phone. He typed back. Something came up. "Can't make it. Tell Dad I'll call him tonight." "What came up?" "I'll tell you later." "Ethan." "Later, Shan." He put the phone face down. Claire and Tyler came back into the kitchen. Tyler was holding Claire's hand. Claire was holding a small plastic glow-in-the-dark star like it was a diamond. "He gave me one," she said. "It's a spare," Tyler said. "I have like 40 of them." "Bud, wash your hands. You've been in sand all day." "Okay." Tyler went to the bathroom. Claire set the star on the counter very carefully. "Ethan." "Yeah. I have to charge my phone. My team is going to spiral if I don't call in the next hour. I promised them 24, but I'm going to move it up. Charger's in the wall by the toaster." "Thank you." She plugged in her phone. It took a minute to power up. When it did, the screen exploded with notifications. The device buzzed against the counter so hard he thought she'd dropped it. She turned it face down. "How many?" "I didn't look." "Claire." "I didn't look on purpose." "Fair. She put both hands flat on the counter, breathed. Ethan, I don't know how to do this. Do what? This. Any of this. I don't know how to be in someone's kitchen. I don't know how to accept I don't help. Yes. Okay. Don't just say, okay, I'm serious. I haven't let anyone help me since I was 12 years old. Why 12? She looked up at him. That was when my father stopped. Stopped what? Being able to. He got sick. And my mother was not a helper. So I started running his meetings for him by the time I was 14. I learned how to read a P and L at 15. I got my MBA at 22, and I walked into his company, and I kept it alive. And he died, and I built it into something 3 times the size he left it, and Claire. And I have not had a day off in 19 years. 19, Ethan. I did the math in the car. Sit down. She sat at the kitchen table. You want tea? I want something stronger. I got a beer. Ethan, I'm kidding. Tea is fine. I don't drink. At all? Not since I was 26. He put the kettle on, got 2 mugs down, a box of Lipton, not fancy. Tyler came back from the bathroom, took one look at them, and announced, I am gonna go build Legos. That's a grown-up conversation. Thanks, bud. You're welcome. Miss Claire, do you like Legos? I've never built any. Tyler stopped, turned, walked back. Never. Okay. After dinner, you and me. I'll teach you. We can build the space station. It's 800 pieces, but we can do like 400 tonight and 400 tomorrow. Tyler. Dad. She's never built Legos. That's an emergency. Claire made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. It sure is, Tyler. I'll be ready. He nodded satisfied and went back down the hall. The kettle whistled. Ethan poured. He set the mug in front of her. Careful, it's hot. Thank you. She wrapped both hands around it. Same as the coffee mug at the diner. Like warmth was a language she was just starting to remember. Claire? Yeah. You need to call them. I know. Put it on speaker. What? Put it on speaker. I'm not eavesdropping. I don't want you in here alone with that. You tell your head of security whatever you want to tell him. I'll be at the sink. You feel yourself slipping. You look up at me. That's all. That's my only rule. Ethan? Claire. Please, humor me. She stared at him for a long moment. Okay. She turned the phone over, woke the screen. 143 notifications. She didn't look at any of them. She scrolled to a contact called Marcus Holloway Security and tapped call. It rang once. Ms. Ashford? Jesus Christ, are you okay? Marcus? I'm fine. I'm safe. Where are you? Give me a city. Give me anything. I'm in Florida. That's all you need right now. Claire? Marcus, listen to me. No, you listen. I have been on the phone with your board for 6 hours. Somebody leaked your location to a regional contractor we use for skip traces, and now there are 3 different people looking for you, and one of them is a reporter from Bloomberg. Claire closed her eyes. And I need you back at a controlled location by tomorrow morning, or I am getting on a plane myself. Marcus. Ma'am. I was not safe this morning. The line went quiet. Say that again. I was not safe this morning. Somebody found me. I'm not going to tell you who, because he has asked me not to, and he has earned that. But I want you to understand something. If he had not been on that beach today, you would be having a different conversation right now. Ethan at the sink gripped the edge of the counter. Claire, ma'am. Tell me you're okay. I'm okay now. I wasn't this morning. I'm coming to get you. No. Claire. Marcus, I gave this company 19 years. I gave it the only years I had. I am asking you for 48 hours. That's it. 48 hours where nobody calls me and nobody flies down here and nobody tries to manage me. If my phone rings one time in the next 48 hours from anybody at that company, I am putting this phone in the Gulf of Mexico and you will not find me for a month. Do you understand me? Long pause. Yes, ma'am. And Marcus? Yes, ma'am. Kill the skip trace. Shut it down. Whoever leaked my location is fired. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're the CFO. They are fired. You tell the board I said so. You tell them I will call Monday. Ma'am, if I kill the trace and something happens to you, nothing is going to happen to me, Marcus. I'm at a kitchen table. Another pause. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Claire. Yes. I have worked for you for 11 years. I know. Are you all right, personally, not as a CEO, as a person? Claire looked across the kitchen at Ethan, who was pretending very hard to be interested in the faucet. I'm going to be Marcus. I think for the first time in a long time I'm going to be. Okay, ma'am. 48 hours. 48 hours. She hung up. She set the phone down. She put her face in her hands. Ethan didn't move. He just stood at the sink and waited. After a long minute, she said without lifting her head, I fired someone. I heard. I don't know who yet, but I will. Yeah. And I threatened to throw my phone in the Gulf. Yeah. And I meant it. I know you did. She lifted her face. Her eyes were wet, but she was steady. Ethan. Yeah. I just bought myself 48 hours. Yeah, you did. I have not had 48 hours in 19 years. Claire. What do people do with 48 hours? Ethan turned from the sink, walked over, pulled out the chair across from her, sat. Whatever they want. I don't know what I want. Then we figure it out. We. Tyler and me, and you. Tomorrow we'll figure it out. Tonight you're going to eat dinner. You're going to build Legos with my son. And you're going to sleep for 12 hours in a bed that hasn't been slept in since my mother-in-law visited in 2019. Tomorrow we figure out the rest. Ethan. Yeah. Why are you being this kind to me? He looked at his hands on the table. Rough knuckles. A thin white scar across the base of his thumb from a table saw 8 years ago. I'm not being kind. I'm being a person. There's a difference. Not the way I've lived. Then you've been living wrong. She laughed. Wet and quiet. You can't just say things like that to a CEO. I'm not talking to a CEO. I'm talking to Claire. I don't know that other lady. I met Claire. She reached across the table, touched his wrist. Just her fingertips. Just for a second. Then pulled back. Thank you. Yeah. He stood up, opened the fridge. I'm going to make you the best chicken you've ever had in your life. And it's going to be a boxed brand of pasta, and you're going to like it. Okay. Tyler, dinner in 45. Okay, Dad. Claire picked up her tea. Ethan was pulling chicken out of the fridge when his phone buzzed on the counter. He glanced at it. His sister. Shannon. He silenced it. It buzzed again. He silenced it again. It buzzed a third time. This time, his father. He turned the phone over. You're ignoring a lot of calls, Claire said. Family. Don't ignore family. It's complicated. Ethan? What? I just ignored 9,000 employees. I'm the last person you need to defend yourself to. But don't ignore family, please. He stared at the phone, then picked it up. Dad? Son, where are you? Home. Your sister said you canceled on dinner. Yeah, something came up. With Tyler. Tyler's fine. Something else. Ethan, your Aunt Linda drove in from Jacksonville. Dad, I know. I'm sorry. I can't. I've got somebody here. Long pause. Somebody. Yeah. A somebody. Dad. Son, are you? Dad. It's not like that. It's she needed help. I'm helping. That's all. Tell Aunt Linda I'll call her tomorrow. Ethan? Yeah. I have not heard you say she in 8 years. Ethan was quiet. Dad? I'm not saying anything. I'm just making an observation. We're not, Dad. I pulled her out of the water this morning. That's the level this is on. She needed somewhere to sit down. That's it. Son. Yeah. Whoever she is, be careful, and be kind, and if you need anything you call. Okay, Dad. I love you. Love you too. He hung up. Claire was looking at him. What? You haven't said she in 8 years? Don't. I'm not doing anything. You're doing something. I'm drinking tea. Claire. Ethan. They stared at each other across the kitchen. Tyler walked in holding a half-built Lego rocket. Can I have a snack? No, dinner's in 30. 45 minutes ago you said 45 minutes. That was 15 minutes ago. Exactly. Go finish your rocket, bud. Tyler left. Claire laughed, hand over her mouth. Full laugh this time. It shook her shoulders. What? He's you, in miniature. He's his mother, in miniature. I'm just the guy who keeps him fed. She went quiet. Ethan? Yeah. You loved her a lot. Yeah, I did. Tell me about her. He paused with a chicken breast in his hand, looked at her. Now? If you want to. You want to hear about my dead wife, on your first day out of the Gulf. I want to hear about the woman who made you into the kind of man who runs across a beach for a stranger. Yeah, I do. He set the chicken down, wiped his hands on a towel. She was a kindergarten teacher. She sang in the car. Bad. Worse than bad. She cried at dog food commercials. She made me write her a love letter every Valentine's Day, and she kept them all in a shoebox under our bed. I still have the shoebox. She was a better person than me. Better than anyone I've ever known. She died in January of 2018. Tyler was 17 months old. He doesn't remember her. Not really. He remembers her voice a little. I play him videos sometimes. He laughs at them. That's all he's got of her. Videos in a shoebox. Claire's eyes were bright. Ethan? Yeah. That is the most loved anyone has ever been in the history of the world. He swallowed hard. Yeah, she was. I meant you. He turned back to the counter. He didn't answer. He started the chicken. The house smelled like garlic and butter by 6:30. Tyler set the table without being asked 3 plates because he had already decided Claire was staying. Ethan didn't correct him. They ate at the small, round kitchen table, knees almost touching underneath. Tyler told Claire a long story about a kid at school named Braxton who had eaten glue on a dare. Claire laughed at the right places. She ate her whole plate. Ethan noticed. He didn't say anything. After dinner, Tyler got his Legos out on the living room rug. Claire sat cross-legged on the floor in borrowed sweatpants of Ethan's that were 3 sizes too big, and a t-shirt that said Tampa Buccaneers on the front. Her suit was in a pile in the laundry room. Ethan did dishes. Listened to them. Tyler narrating every piece. Claire asking questions like she was taking a class. Where does this one go, Tyler? That's the thruster, it goes on the bottom. Why does it have 4 circles on it? Those are the attachment circles. They're called studs. But don't say studs in front of Mrs. Henderson because she said it's a grown-up word now for some reason. Noted. Ethan closed his eyes and gripped the edge of the sink. He had not heard the sound of a woman laughing in this house in a very long time. He had forgotten what it did to the walls. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Campbell, this is Marcus Holloway, head of security for Claire Ashford. She gave me this number under duress for emergency contact only. I will not use it except in a true emergency. I want you to know that I know your name, your address, and your son's name. That is not a threat. That is a promise of protection. If anything happens to her under your roof, anything, I will be on your doorstep before the sun comes up. If she is safe with you, I will never contact you again. Are we clear? Ethan read it 3 times. Then he typed back. Crystal, she's safe. She'll be safer when she sleeps. 3 dots. Then, thank you. He put the phone down. From the living room, Claire said, Tyler, is this the right piece? Yep, good one. I did it. You did it. Ethan. She called, I did a Lego. He stood at the sink with a dish towel in his hand and water running cold over the plate he had forgotten he was holding. "Hear that, Ethan?" "I heard you, Claire. I did a Lego. Proud of you." She laughed again. And Ethan stood in his kitchen in a house that had held only grief and pancake syrup for 8 years and listened to a woman who owned $3.2 billion of her own company celebrate attaching a plastic brick to another plastic brick. And he understood with a clarity that frightened him that something in his life had just cracked open, and he did not know yet if it was going to let light in or let everything he had built come pouring out. He turned off the water, he dried his hands, and he walked into the living room to sit down on the floor with his son and the woman he had pulled out of the sea. Claire slept 14 hours. She slept through Tyler waking up at 6:30 and pouring his own cereal. She slept through Ethan's coffee maker gurgling and the front screen door slapping when he went out to get the paper. She slept through Tyler asking 3 times if he could go wake her up, and Ethan saying no 3 times, and then a 4th no when Tyler tried to sneak. When she finally opened the guest room door at 9:15, barefoot hair in a loose knot, wearing the same Buccaneers t-shirt she'd worn to bed, she stopped in the hallway like she'd forgotten which direction the kitchen was. "Down the hall and to your left," Ethan called. "I knew that." "Sure you did." She patted in. Tyler looked up from his bowl. "Miss Claire, you sleep for 100 years. Feels like it." "Dad, she slept for 100 years." "I heard, Bud." Ethan slid a mug of coffee across the counter to her. She wrapped both hands around it. "I haven't slept past 6 in a decade." "You earned it." "What time is it?" 9:15. "I have a meeting at—" "You don't have anything. 48 hours. You said it yourself." She closed her eyes, pressed the mug against her forehead. "Right. Eggs?" "Please." "Tyler, go brush your teeth for real this time. I'm checking." "I did. With toothpaste." "I'm going." Tyler left. Ethan cracked eggs into a bowl. "How'd you sleep?" "I don't remember sleeping. I remember lying down, and I remember waking up and nothing in between." "That's the good kind." "Yeah." She sat at the table. Didn't touch her coffee yet, just held it. "Ethan." "Yeah." "Last night, on the floor, with the Legos. I laughed so hard my face hurt." "I heard." "When was the last time you heard someone laugh in this house like that?" He didn't look up from the pan. "A while. I'm sorry." "Don't be." "I mean, I'm sorry if me being here—" "Claire." "What?" "Eat your eggs when I put 'em down and stop apologizing for being a person in my kitchen." She smiled into the mug. He slid a plate in front of her. Eggs, toast, 3 strips of bacon. She picked up the fork. "You know what I realized at 4 in the morning?" "I don't own a single pair of pajamas." "What?" "I own nightgowns, silk, for the apartment in New York. I have not owned a pair of drawstring waist flannel, anything since I was in college. Your guest room had flannel sheets. I slept under a flannel sheet for the first time in 25 years and I cried about it. At 4 in the morning, alone, in a stranger's house, over sheets." "Claire." "I know." "I know." She ate a bite of egg. "Ethan, who made that quilt?" "Sarah's mother." "Oh. Wedding present. Took her a year." "Then I shouldn't." "You should. That quilt's been on a bed nobody uses for 8 years. You think Sarah's mother wanted it folded in a closet forever?" "No." "Me neither." She nodded. Took another bite. The front door opened without a knock. Ethan froze with the spatula in his hand. "Ethan Campbell. I know you're home. Your truck is in the driveway, and so is a Mercedes I have never seen before in my life." Shannon. His sister came around the corner into the kitchen and stopped dead when she saw Claire. Claire set down her fork. Shannon was 5'2" of curly red hair and protective fury. She was holding a Tupperware. "Oh," Shannon said. "Shan?" "Oh." "Shan, this is Claire. Claire, my sister, Shannon." Claire stood up. She was still wearing the Buccaneers shirt. "Hi, You're in my brother's kitchen." "Shannon, I'm saying hello." "Hi, you're in my brother's kitchen, in a Bucks shirt. Which is his?" Which is his Sunday shirt, actually. Ethan, that is your Sunday shirt. Shan, I swear to God. I brought you leftover pot roast because you missed dinner last night because something came up, and now I see that something came up. Claire, to her credit, sat back down and picked up her fork and cut a precise square of egg. Mrs. Campbell. Miss, Shannon, Shan. Shannon, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. Shan, Ethan said. Outside, porch, now. I just drove 40 minutes, Ethan, let me have my... Shannon, now. She glared at him, set the Tupperware on the counter, walked past him onto the front porch. He followed, closed the door behind them. Shannon, tell me right now. It's not Ethan Campbell. I was at your wife's funeral. I held your son when he was 9 months old, and you could not get out of bed for 3 days. You do not bring a strange woman in a Buccaneers shirt into your house and tell me it's not what I think. Shannon. She walked into the Gulf of Mexico yesterday morning. Shannon stopped. What? I pulled her out. She wasn't trying to. She thinks she wasn't trying to. She hadn't slept in 4 days. She hadn't eaten since Thursday. She didn't have anywhere to go. Tyler invited her to stay in the guest room, and I agreed, and that is the whole story. She slept 14 hours. She's eating eggs. That is the entire situation. Shannon stared at him. Ethan. What? Who is she? Her name is Claire. Who is she, Ethan? He rubbed his face. She's the CEO of Ashford Industries. Silence. The one Dad owns stock in. Probably, I don't know. Yeah. Ethan. What? You pulled a billionaire out of the Gulf of Mexico and you didn't call me. I didn't know she was a billionaire when I pulled her out. Shan, I just knew she was drowning. Shannon pressed her fingertips against her temples. Ethan. What? Is she in trouble? I think someone on her board betrayed her. I think she got sent down here to break and they leaked her location yesterday. Holy, yeah. And she's in our kitchen. Yeah. In a Bucks shirt. Shannon, focus. I'm focused. I'm very focused, Ethan. I'm focused on the fact that the last woman inside that house was Sarah. And my brother, who has not been on a date in 8 years, is standing on this porch telling me there's a woman in there now, and I need a second. Ethan leaned against the porch rail. I know. I'm gonna need to go back in there. Sean, not like that. Like a person. Like a normal human being. I need a second. Take your second. She took it, stared out at the yard, closed her eyes, opened them. Okay, Ethan, look at me. I'm looking. Are you okay? Yeah. Are you sure? Sean, I'm fine. Because the last time you brought a woman into that house, it was Sarah, and we went to her funeral 8 months later. And I don't, Ethan, I cannot watch you. Shannon. His voice was rough. It is not like that. I barely know her. I pulled her out of the water. That's all this is. Ethan. What? You've got a look on your face I have not seen since you were 23. Shan. I'm just telling you. Shan, please. She put her hand on his arm. Okay, I'm going home. I'm taking my Tupperware back because you don't deserve my pot roast. Fair. And I'm gonna call you tonight. Okay. And you're gonna pick up. Okay. Ethan. Yeah. Be careful. Yeah. She went back inside, picked up her Tupperware, walked over to Claire, who had gone very still at the table. Claire. Shannon. I'm sorry about the kitchen thing. I deserved it. You really did. But I'm sorry anyway. My brother is a good man, and he is also a fragile man, and I am a difficult sister. It's genetic. Understood. You eat his eggs, you drink his coffee, you sleep under that quilt, but you be careful with him. Shannon, I'm not threatening you. I'm begging you, woman to woman. Claire's eyes were wet. I hear you. Okay. Shannon looked at her a second longer, then nodded, turned, walked out. The screen door slapped behind her. The kitchen was quiet. Ethan came back in. Claire? She's right. Shannon is a lot She's right, Ethan. Claire. I'm leaving today. No, you're not. Ethan. I cannot be the reason something happens to you. Or Tyler. I cannot be the thing your sister has to protect you from. I came here by accident. I am in your kitchen by accident. This was never supposed to... Claire. What? He pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. Eat your eggs. Ethan, eat your eggs. Then we'll talk. Not before. She picked up the fork. Her phone on the counter buzzed. Both of them looked at it. 48 hours, Ethan said. It's not them. How do you know? Because that's Marcus's tone. He has a different buzz. You gave your head of security his own ringtone. Yes. Claire. I know. She got up, picked up the phone, accepted the call. Marcus. Ma'am. You have 5 seconds and it better be an emergency. It is. She went still. Put it on speaker. Ma'am. Marcus, speaker, now. She set the phone on the table between them. Talk. Ms. Ashford, the leak did not come from a regional contractor. Go on. The leak came from inside the company, from the executive floor. Claire's hand went flat on the table. Who? Ma'am. Marcus, who? David Reinhardt. There was no sound in the kitchen, none. Ethan was watching her face. The color went out of it in stages. First her cheeks, then her lips, then her jaw went rigid and her eyes went dry and hard. Say it again. David Reinhardt leaked your location. He authorized the skip trace. He's been on the phone with the Bloomberg reporter since Tuesday. He's been coordinating with 2 board members. I have the email trail. I have phone records. I have the whole thing. Claire did not move. Since Tuesday. Since Tuesday. David set the sabbatical up. Yes, ma'am. David sat in my office on Monday and told me I looked tired and that I needed to take care of myself. Yes, ma'am. David hugged me on Tuesday in the hallway when the board meeting ended, and he told me he would handle everything, and I should just breathe for once in my life. Ma'am. David. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. I am calm. Claire. I am calm, Marcus. Ethan reached across the table without thinking and put his hand over her wrist. She looked down at his hand like she didn't recognize it, didn't pull away. Marcus, she said, how long has he been planning this? Ma'am, based on the email trail, at least a year. A year? Yes, ma'am. He's been planning for a year how to remove me. Yes, ma'am. David, who I hired out of Wharton, who I made chief operating officer at 31, who I gave equity to when my own father wouldn't have, who stood next to me at my own father's funeral. Ma'am. Who was the last person to hug me before Ethan Campbell? Ma'am. Nothing, Marcus. Nothing. Ethan's hand was still on her wrist. Marcus, she said. How bad? Bloomberg runs the story Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern. The headline is, Ashford CEO to take indefinite medical leave amid concerns over executive stability. Quote an anonymous source close to the company. The quote uses the word unraveling. Ma'am, it uses the word unraveling. Claire closed her eyes. Ma'am. Yeah. There's more. Of course there is. The board vote is Tuesday to move you to a non-executive chairman role. David takes the CEO chair. It's already whipped. He has the votes. Does he? Ma'am. Marcus. Does he? As of this morning, yes. She opened her eyes. How many? 6-3. Assuming you vote against yourself, which you would, that's 6-4. He needs 5. He has 6. Who flipped? Linda Park, Carter Voss, and your uncle. Ethan felt her arm go rigid under his hand. My Uncle Edward. Yes, ma'am. My father's brother. Yes, ma'am. Who sat on my father's hospital bed with me when he died and told me that this company was my birthright. Yes, ma'am. Who was supposed to walk me down the aisle if I ever got married. Who held me when I was 14. Who? Ma'am. She did not cry. That was the thing that made Ethan's chest hurt. She did not cry. Marcus. Ma'am? Get on a plane. Ma'am, get on a plane. Bring the evidence. Paper copies. No digital. No forwarding. You land in Tampa tonight. You text this number when you land. You do not tell anyone. Anyone, Marcus. Are you hearing me? I'm hearing you. You do not tell anyone where you're going. You do not tell your wife. You do not tell the pilot. You do not tell the board. You disappear from that building this afternoon, and you reappear in my hand tonight with every piece of evidence you've collected. You understand me? Yes, ma'am. And Marcus? Ma'am. Fly commercial. Not the company plane. Economy. Pay cash at the airport for a burner phone. This is the last conversation we have on this line. Yes, ma'am. Marcus. Ma'am. Thank you. I've been waiting 20 years to get one of them. I know you have. I'll see you tonight. She hung up. She set the phone down. She did not move. Ethan took his hand off her wrist, got up, walked to the sink, turned on the tap, filled a glass of water, brought it back, set it in front of her. Drink. She drank. Eat the rest of your eggs. Ethan? Eat. She picked up the fork. Her hand was steady. Tyler came back down the hall. I brushed them for real. You can check. Bud, I need you to do me a favor. Okay. Grab your tablet. Go out on the porch. Watch a show. Loud headphones. Don't come in for 30 minutes. I'll come get you. Why? Because I'm asking. Tyler looked between them. His small face went serious in a way Ethan had seen exactly twice before, both times at a hospital. Miss Claire, you okay? Claire put down her fork. Tyler, come here. He walked over. She held out her arms. He hugged her. Her arms went around his small shoulders, and she held him for about 4 seconds, and then let him go. I'm okay, Tyler. Your dad and I are just going to talk grown-up for a minute. Okay. He went out to the porch. Ethan waited until the screen door shut. Then he sat down. Claire. He's my family, Ethan. I know. He's the last thing my father left me. Edward. He's my father's brother. He walked me into my father's office the day of the funeral, and he said, "This is yours now, Claire Bear, and nobody is ever going to take it from you." He called me Claire Bear. Nobody has called me Claire Bear since I was 11 years old. Claire. He flipped Ethan. He flipped on me. I know. For what? I don't know. What did David offer him? What does a 74-year-old man who already has everything want that he'd flip on his dead brother's daughter to get? Claire. What? Sometimes it isn't money. She looked at him. Then what? Ethan exhaled. Sometimes it's that it's easier to be on the side that wins. Sometimes it's that they convince themselves they're doing it for you. Sometimes it's a lot of small things that add up, and they don't even know how they got there. That's worse, Ethan. That is worse than money. I know. She pushed her plate away. She put her face in her hands. Claire. She didn't answer. Claire. Nothing. He got up. He walked around the table. He didn't know what he was doing. He had not touched a woman's shoulders since Sarah died. His hands were clumsy with it. He put his palms on her shoulders, gently, gently. She did not shrug him off. Claire, don't. Okay, don't be nice to me right now. Ethan, please. I will break into pieces in your kitchen, and I don't know how to put myself back together, and I can't. I need to get on a plane. I need to get on a plane today. I need to be in New York by Monday morning. I need to... Claire? What? Breathe. I can't. In. Ethan. In, Claire. She breathed in. Out. She breathed out. In. I can't. In. She breathed in. Out. I gave them everything, Ethan. I gave them my 20s. I gave them my 30s. I gave them my father's memory. I did not get married. I did not have children. I did not have a single friend who wasn't also on the payroll, and the one man I trusted with my life, Ethan, the one man I know, has been planning for a year. I know. A year. Claire. She turned in the chair. She didn't stand up. She just turned and she pressed her forehead against his stomach and she gripped 2 handfuls of his t-shirt and she did not cry. She just held on. Ethan put one hand on the back of her head, the other on her shoulder. I've got you. Ethan, I've got you. I haven't been held by anyone since my father died. He closed his eyes. Okay. I'm 38 years old. Okay, Claire. I'm 38 years old, and no one has held me since 1998. I'm holding you now. Yes. Okay. He did not let go. For a long, long time, he did not let go. Outside on the porch, a 7-year-old boy sat with a tablet in his lap and earbuds in and pretended very hard that he could not hear anything through the screen door, which he had heard all of, and which, in the way of 7-year-olds, he would hold inside his small, serious chest and not understand for another 20 years. In the kitchen, eventually, Claire lifted her head. Her face was dry. Ethan. Yeah. I am going to destroy him. Which one? David? Edward? All of them. Every single person who sat in a room and decided I was easier to break than to keep. I am going to destroy every one of them, and I am going to do it legally, and I am going to do it in public, and I am going to do it with a clean shirt on and a full stomach and 8 hours of sleep, because I spent 19 years being the hardest working person in every room I walked into, and they have fundamentally misunderstood what that means. Ethan looked at her. He had known her for about 26 hours. He had pulled her out of the Gulf of Mexico in a wetsuit and carried her to his truck. And now, at his kitchen table, in a Buccaneers t-shirt, with his quilt upstairs and his son on the porch and his hand still on her shoulder, Claire Ashford had found her spine. He could see it in her jaw. He could see it in her hands. He could see it in her eyes, which had gone from gray-green and drowned to gray-green and clear. Ethan? Yeah, I need your help. Whatever you need. You don't know what I'm going to ask. Doesn't matter. Ethan. Claire. Whatever you need. She stood up. She was still 6 inches shorter than him, and she was wearing sweatpants that were falling off her hips, and she had not brushed her hair, and her eyes were swollen, and she looked for the first time since he had met her like a woman who was not going to walk into any water anywhere ever again. Then I'm going to need 48 more hours. You've got them. And I'm going to need your guest room for 3 nights. You've got it. And I'm going to need my head of security to be able to walk into your house tonight without you pulling a shotgun on him. I don't own a shotgun. Ethan? He can walk in. I'll make him a plate. She almost laughed. And I'm going to need one more thing. Name it. She looked at him for a long second. I'm going to need you to promise me that when this is over, whatever it looks like whenever it ends, you will still be standing in this kitchen. Ethan did not answer right away. He looked at her. He thought about Sarah. He thought about the shoebox under his bed. He thought about his sister on the porch an hour ago saying, "Be careful." He thought about his son out there right now with earbuds in pretending. Claire? Yes. I'm not going anywhere. She nodded. Once. Hard. And then she walked past him down the hall into the guest room, and she closed the door behind her, and for the next 4 hours she did not come out. On the other side of the door, Ethan could hear her voice, low and steady, and sharp as a razor, as she made call after call after call after call. He stood on the other side of that door for a full minute. Then he went out to the porch and he pulled the earbuds out of his son's ears and he said, "Come on, bud, we're going to the store. We need to buy steak. We're feeding a security guard tonight." Tyler looked up at him. "Dad?" "Yeah." "Is she mad?" Ethan thought about it. "No, bud. She's not mad. She's awake." "Is that different?" "Yeah, sometimes." He picked his son up, and he held him for a second longer than he usually did, and then he set him down, and the two of them walked out to the truck, while a woman he had known for 26 hours quietly prepared on the other side of his guest room door to take her entire life back. Marcus Holloway was a black man in his mid-50s, 6'3", carrying a leather briefcase and wearing a suit that had been on a plane all afternoon. He stood on Ethan's porch at 7:42 p.m. with rain on his shoulders and looked at Ethan like he was measuring him for something. "Mr. Campbell?" "Marcus. Thank you for opening your door." "Come in. You eaten?" "No, sir. Steaks are almost done." Marcus stepped inside. He scanned the living room the way men who have been paid to scan rooms, the exits, the corners, the framed photos, the small boy on the couch who had paused a cartoon to stare at him with enormous eyes. "Hi, Tyler," Marcus said. "How did you know my name?" "Your dad told me." "What's in the briefcase?" "Papers." "Grown-up papers." "Very grown-up papers." "Okay." Claire came out of the guest room. She had showered. She was wearing black slacks she had pulled from her suitcase and a plain white t-shirt, and she had put her hair up, and her face was bare, and she looked, Ethan thought, like a woman who had finally decided to stop apologizing for taking up space. "Marcus." "Ma'am." "Kitchen." "Yes, ma'am." She walked past Ethan without looking at him. Marcus followed her. The guest room door did not close this time. Ethan heard her voice start low and steady at the kitchen table, and he heard the click of a briefcase opening, and he heard paper sliding across wood. He flipped the steaks. Tyler walked up beside him. "Dad?" "Yeah, bud." "Is he a good guy or a bad guy?" "Good guy." "How do you know?" "Miss Claire says so." "Okay. Go wash your hands. Dinner in 5. Tyler went. Ethan pulled the steaks off the grill pan, plated 4, carried them to the table. Claire and Marcus were bent over papers. They looked up when he set the plates down. "Eat while you work." "Ethan," Claire said. "I'm sorry, we can—" "No, you eat. I'm not asking." Marcus almost smiled. "Mr. Campbell." "Ethan." "Ethan. I've known Ms. Ashford for 11 years. I have never once seen her be told what to do." "She hasn't eaten enough." "I see that." "So eat, Claire." She picked up her fork. Tyler came back and sat down. 4 people at the small round kitchen table, Tyler at Claire's elbow, Marcus across from her, Ethan across from Tyler. Tyler looked at Marcus. "Mr. Marcus?" "Yes, Tyler." "Are you a spy?" "No, Tyler." "Are you a cop?" "No." "What are you?" "I keep people safe." "From what?" "From other people." Tyler thought about this. "That's a good job." "Thank you." "Do you have kids?" 2. Both grown." "Do they think your job is cool?" "They used to. Now they think I work too much." "Like Miss Claire." Marcus looked at Claire. Claire looked at her plate. "A little like Miss Claire, yes." "Bud," Ethan said. "Cut your steak." "Okay." They ate. Marcus Ethan noticed ate the way a man eats who has not stopped moving all day and does not know when he will stop moving again. Claire ate slowly, evenly, like she was rationing. When Tyler was on his last 3 bites, Claire pushed her plate toward the middle and pulled a stack of paper back in front of her. "Marcus, walk me through it again." "Ma'am, in front of—" Ethan stays. "Tyler, bud, take your plate to the sink and then go watch something on the tablet with headphones on. Grown-up papers." "Okay." "Tyler." "Yes, Dad." "I love you." "I love you too." Tyler left. Marcus pulled a folder out of the briefcase and opened it. "Okay, David Reinhardt. Email trail starts March of last year. He's talking to a headhunter out of Goldman about a quote-unquote transition plan. Language is ambiguous for the first 6 months. Then, in October, we get this." He slid a printed email across. Claire read it. She did not make a sound. Ethan across the table watched her jaw. The muscle there tightened and released once and was still. "October 14th, she said. "Yes, ma'am. That was the day I was in Cleveland for my mother's surgery." Yes, ma'am. He sent this email at 4 p.m. That was when I was in the waiting room. Yes, ma'am. He knew I was in the waiting room. He knew. Marcus. Ma'am. What does the email say? Out loud. I want to hear it. Ma'am. Out loud, Marcus. Marcus took the paper back. He cleared his throat. Quote, "She's out of pocket today, mother's surgery. Use the window. Push the narrative with Carter and Linda. Frame it as care not coup. She respects care." End quote. Silence. Claire picked up her water glass, drank, set it down. Frame it as care not coup. Yes, ma'am. She respects care. Yes, ma'am. Ethan said very quietly, "Claire." "I'm okay." "Claire." "I am." "Ethan, I am." She reached across the table without looking at him and put her hand flat over his knuckles, just for a second, then pulled it back. "Marcus, what else?" "November. He meets with your uncle, alone, at the Yale Club. I have a photograph. He is not supposed to have been in New York that week. He told you he was in Phoenix for the distribution center opening. He was not in Phoenix. I have his credit card records, his hotel receipt, and the photograph." He slid the photograph across. Claire looked at it. She did not pick it up. "My uncle in a navy suit." "Yes, ma'am." "My father's suit." "Ma'am." "It was my father's. Edward kept half his suits after he died. He wears that one on occasions." "I see. What did they talk about?" "I don't have audio. I have the fact of the meeting. And I have a follow-up email from David to his assistant that afternoon saying, quote, "Edward is on board contingent on succession clarity." End quote. Claire put her hand over her mouth. She did not cry. After a long moment, she lowered it. "Marcus." "Ma'am." "Contingent on succession clarity." "Yes, ma'am." "What does Edward want?" "Ma'am, I can only tell you what I have in the paperwork." "Tell me." "There's a transfer of stock, scheduled for the first business day after the board vote. 2.1% of the company from your personal holdings trust, which Edward co-signs into a new trust in his grandson's name." "His grandson?" "Yes, ma'am." "His grandson is 11. "Yes, ma'am." "Edward sold me out for 2.1% of the company. For a child." "Ma'am." "For a child, Marcus." "Yes, ma'am." Ethan watched Claire's face do something that was not grief and was not rage. It was something colder than both. It was the face of a woman looking at a ledger. "Okay." That was all she said. "Okay." Marcus waited. "Marcus, how many people on that board are clean?" "3, ma'am, for certain. Patricia Vance, Howard Kim, Denise Abernathy." "3. Yes, ma'am." "I need 4. "Yes, ma'am." "Marcus." "Ma'am." "Linda Park, what's her angle?" "Ambition, ma'am. She wants the vice chair seat. David offered it." "Carter Voss." "Scared. His hedge fund shorted us last quarter. He's overexposed and he thinks David is a safer bet." "He thinks wrong." "Yes, ma'am." "Edward." "Family, ma'am. Whatever his reasons, he made his decision." "Edward." "Yes, ma'am." "No." Marcus paused. "Ma'am." "Edward is not a flip. Edward is a hostage." "Ma'am." "Marcus, listen to me. My uncle does not move 2% of my stock for his grandson unless somebody is putting pressure on him. Edward does not betray my father for a child he can already spoil rotten with his own money. Edward is being leveraged. What does David have on him?" Marcus was quiet. "Marcus?" "Ma'am, I don't know yet." "Find out." "Yes, ma'am." "Tonight." "Yes, ma'am." "Before Monday." "Ma'am?" "Marcus." "Yes, ma'am. Before Monday." Ethan, who had been sitting very still, said, "Claire." "What?" "Can I ask a question?" "Yes." "You said Edward is a hostage." "Yes." "Then when you walk into that boardroom on Tuesday, you don't fight him." Claire looked at him. "What?" "You said he's the last thing your father left you. You said he held you when you were 14. You said he called you Claire Bear. You said all that this morning." Ethan, you don't fight him. You save him. You find what David's got on him and you pull him out. And you do it in front of the whole board. Marcus set his fork down. Claire did not move. Ethan. Yeah. Say that again. You save him. You don't destroy him. If you destroy him, David wins twice. He gets the company, and he gets to tell the story that you turned on your own family. If you save him, you walk in there and you pull him out of whatever hole David has him in, and every single person in that room sees you do it, and they see David sitting next to an empty chair where his co-conspirator used to be. Claire's eyes were wet. Ethan, I'm just a guy who builds houses, Claire. But if you take somebody's foundation out from under him, the whole thing comes down on top of you. You put somebody else's foundation back. That's different. That's how you stay standing. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Ma'am. Marcus. I've been thinking about this for 3 months and I had not thought of that. Marcus. Yes, ma'am. Neither had I. She turned to Ethan. Ethan Campbell. Yeah. You just gave me my Tuesday. Okay. You just gave me my boardroom. Okay, Claire. I'm going to need you to come with me. Ethan's face did something involuntary. Claire, I'm not asking you to speak. I'm not asking you to sit at the table. I am asking you to be in the building. I am asking you to be down the hall. I am asking you to be the person I walk back to after I do this. Because if I walk back into that apartment alone on Tuesday night, Ethan, I am going to open a bottle of something, and I am not going to stop. I have done it before. I need... She stopped. I need. He had never heard her use that sentence structure. I need. He understood in that second that she never had. He reached across the table. He put his hand over hers. Okay. Okay. Okay, Claire, I'll be down the hall. Tyler. Shannon will take Tyler. Shannon is going to yell at me for 2 weeks about this, but she will take him. He will be safe. He will be fed. He will be confused, but he will be fine. I am coming with you. Her fingers curled up and gripped his. Ethan? Yeah. I have not been able to breathe for 3 days. I know. I can breathe right now. I know. Marcus very quietly got up, picked up his plate, and carried it to the sink. He ran water. He did not look at them. He was giving them the room. Ethan did not let go of her hand. Claire did not let go of his. After a long moment, she said, Marcus. Ma'am. One more thing. Yes, ma'am. I want to meet Edward, before Tuesday, alone. Marcus turned from the sink. Ma'am, I cannot advise. I'm not asking for advice. I'm telling you, set it up, tomorrow, somewhere neutral, somewhere public enough that he can't be stupid, private enough that he can talk. I want 60 minutes with my uncle. Ma'am, David will know. I want David to know. Ma'am, I want David to know I'm having 60 minutes with my uncle. I want David to spend Sunday night wondering what Edward said to me. I want David to walk into that boardroom Tuesday morning having not slept since Sunday at midnight. Marcus stared at her. Ma'am? Marcus? I missed you. Her eyes filled. I missed me too. He nodded, pulled out his phone, walked out onto the porch to make calls. The kitchen was just Ethan and Claire. Ethan. Yeah, I need to ask you something that is not fair. Ask it. I need you to fly to New York on Monday night. Okay. On a private plane. Okay. That I own. Claire. I know. I've never been on a private plane. I know. I've been on a plane 3 times in my life, Claire. I know. I don't own a suit. We'll buy you a suit. Claire. Ethan. I'm going to embarrass you. Ethan Campbell, look at me. He looked at her. You pulled me out of the Gulf of Mexico in board shorts and a stained t-shirt. You have not embarrassed anyone in this room since the moment I met you. You are not going to embarrass me by walking into my building. You are going to walk into my building as a man who pulled a stranger out of the water for no reason except that a stranger was drowning. You are going to walk past the receptionist, and into the executive elevator, and up to the 42nd floor, and down the hall to my office. And you are going to sit on my couch while I go to my boardroom. And you are going to drink a cup of coffee and read a magazine. And when I come back, whatever happens, whatever the vote is, whether I still run that company at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, or whether I am a private citizen at 5:01, I am coming back to that office, and I am walking to that couch, and I am sitting down next to you, and you are going to be there. Are you hearing me? Yes. Say it. I'm going to be there. Say it again. I'm going to be there, Claire. Good. Marcus came back inside. Ma'am, dinner with Edward, tomorrow, 1 p.m. A restaurant in St. Petersburg called the Birchwood. I have a private room booked under a name he won't recognize. His flight lands at 11:15. I have a car. You got him on a plane in 13 hours. Yes, ma'am? How? I told him you had asked for him personally. And he cried, ma'am. Claire went still. He cried. On the phone. He cried. He said, quote, she's asking for me, end quote. And then he booked the flight himself. I did not have to push him. Marcus. Ma'am. You were right. About what, ma'am? He's a hostage. I hope so, ma'am. Me too. She looked at Ethan. Ethan? Yeah. Will you come to lunch tomorrow? Claire, that's your family. I know. Will you come? You want me at a table with your uncle the day after you found out he... Yes. Why? Because if he is a hostage, he needs to see that I have someone. I have been alone at every meal for 19 years, Ethan. Every meal. Every holiday. Every Christmas. He knows it. He has watched it. If I walk into that restaurant with someone with anyone, and he sees it, it changes everything. He will not be looking at me the way he has been looking at me for 19 years. He will be looking at me like somebody who has something to lose that he didn't put there. Ethan thought about it. Claire, I'm a single dad who frames houses. I know what you are. Your uncle is going to look at me and... My uncle is going to look at you, and he is going to see a man who runs across a beach for a stranger. And he is going to remember that my father was that kind of man. And he is going to cry again. Ethan, I know my uncle. Please. Ethan exhaled. Okay. Okay. Okay, Claire. Lunch tomorrow. I'll wear a collared shirt. I don't care what you wear. I'm wearing a collared shirt. Okay. Marcus from the counter said, Ma'am, I'll be at the table next to you, close enough to hear, far enough to stay out of it. Thank you, Marcus. Ma'am, one last thing. Go. Bloomberg. I know. The story runs Monday, 7 a.m. I know. We can kill it. I have a contact. No. Ma'am. No, Marcus. Let it run. Ma'am, it uses the word. I know what word it uses. Let it run. Claire with respect. Marcus. If I kill the story David knows, I killed the story. If I let it run, David thinks I'm asleep. He thinks I'm still on a beach. He thinks I have not seen the word. He walks into that boardroom on Tuesday, thinking he has softened every single person at that table with a Monday morning front page, and he does not know that I am in the building, that my uncle is no longer his, that I have every email he ever sent in a briefcase under the table, and that I am going to vote first. Let it run. Marcus stared at her. Ma'am. Marcus. I am proud of you. Claire looked at him. Marcus. Ma'am. Do not make me cry in this kitchen. Yes, ma'am. Withdrawing. He picked up his jacket, picked up the briefcase. Where are you staying tonight? Ethan said. A Holiday Inn off the interstate. I reserved under a false name. Stay here. Mr. Campbell. Couch pulls out. Ethan, I can't impose. You drove straight from an airport with a briefcase full of evidence. You are not sleeping at a Holiday Inn with that briefcase. You are sleeping in my living room with my son 10 feet from you and my bedroom door open. It's not a negotiation. Marcus looked at Claire. Claire looked at Ethan. Ethan Campbell, Claire said. Do you always do this? Do what? Take in strays. Lady, 24 hours ago, the only stray in this house was a 7-year-old. She laughed. It was not broken this time. It was the kind of laugh that belonged to a person who was sitting in her own body again. Marcus set the briefcase down. Mr. Campbell. Ethan. I accept your couch. Good. Tyler wandered back in with his tablet. Dad, is Mr. Marcus staying? Yes, Bud. On the couch. Yes. Does he need a pillow? Yes. I'll get one. Tyler went to the hall closet and came back with a pillow twice his size. He carried it over to Marcus and held it up. Marcus, head of security for a $3 billion company, took the pillow from a 7-year-old like he was accepting a medal. Thank you, Tyler. You're welcome. If you want more blankets, we have them. I'll be fine. If you snore, I have earbuds. Tyler. What? Grandpa snores and Dad says it's a medical event. Marcus smiled, for the first time since he had walked in. I don't snore, Tyler. Okay. Tyler went down the hall to his room. Claire watched him go. Ethan. Yeah. That boy is the best thing in any room he walks into. Yeah. Ethan. Yeah. Don't ever tell him what happened in this kitchen tonight. I wasn't going to. Promise me. I promise, Claire. She nodded. I'm going to bed. Okay. Ethan? Yeah. She walked over to him. She stopped a foot away. She put her hand flat on his chest, over his shirt, over his heart, just for a second. She did not say anything. She took her hand back. She walked down the hall. The guest room door closed. Marcus, on the couch unfolding the blanket Ethan had pulled out, said without looking up, Ethan. Yeah. I'm going to say this one time and then I am never going to say it again. Okay. That woman has been alone for 19 years. I have watched it. I have carried bags for her at airports, and I have stood outside her office at 2 a.m, and I have driven her to her mother's funeral, and I have never one time seen her put her hand on someone's chest. Marcus. I am not warning you. I am not threatening you. I am telling you. Okay. Be the man who deserves that. Ethan did not answer. He turned off the kitchen light. He walked down the hall. He stopped outside the guest room door for a single second. He did not knock. He did not speak. He kept walking. He went into his son's room. Tyler was already asleep, tablet face down on his chest, one arm thrown over a stuffed shark. Ethan took the tablet, pulled the blanket up, pressed his lips to the top of his son's head. I love you, Bud. Love you, Dad. Tyler mumbled, not waking up. Ethan turned off the lamp. He went to his own room. He sat on the edge of his bed in the dark. He looked at the shoebox under the nightstand where Sarah's love letters lived. He did not open it. He closed his eyes. He breathed. Somewhere down the hall, a woman who had walked into the Gulf of Mexico 48 hours ago was sleeping in a bed that had not been slept in for 7 years, under a quilt his mother-in-law had stitched in a t-shirt that said Tampa Buccaneers on the front. In the morning, the three of them would drive to a restaurant in St. Petersburg, and an old man in a dead brother's suit would walk in and see his niece sitting across from a stranger with calloused hands, and the ground underneath David Reinhardt's feet would start very quietly to move. Ethan lay down on top of the covers. He did not sleep. He waited for morning. Morning came gray and slow. Ethan was at the coffee maker by 6. Marcus was already up, dressed, folded blanket, on the couch, briefcase on the coffee table. You didn't sleep. I slept enough. Marcus. Mr. Campbell, I have slept less on harder couches for worse people. Coffee. Please. Claire came out at 6:45. She was wearing the black slacks again, a cream blouse from the suitcase low heels. Her hair was down. She looked like herself. She also looked like a woman about to walk into a room with a man she had loved her whole life and ask him out loud why. Ethan? Yeah. Coffee. On it. Tyler padded out in his pajamas at 7:15, saw all three of them fully dressed and said, Is something happening? Bud, come here. Ethan sat him on the counter. Aunt Shannon is picking you up in 20 minutes. Why? Because Miss Claire and I have to go do a grown-up thing in a different city. What kind of grown-up thing? The hard kind. Tyler looked at Claire. Are you gonna be okay? I'm going to be okay, Tyler. Is Dad gonna be okay? Yes. Promise. Yes, Tyler. He wrapped both his arms around her neck. She closed her eyes, held him for a second. Let him go. Bud. Ethan said, go get dressed, pack your backpack. Aunt Shannon wants to take you to the aquarium. The aquarium. The big one. Okay. Tyler jumped down and ran for his room. Shannon pulled up at 7:35. Ethan met her in the driveway. Ethan. Shan? Where are you going? St. Petersburg. Then New York. New York. Yeah. Ethan. Shan. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. she walks into a boardroom. I'm going to be down the hall. I'll be home Tuesday night, I promise. Ethan. What? Dad called me. Okay. He wants you to be careful. I am being careful. Shannon looked at him a long time. You pulled her out of the water. Yeah. And now you're on a plane to New York. Yeah. Ethan Campbell. Shan. Mom would have loved her. Ethan could not speak for a second. Yeah. Yeah. That woman in your kitchen. Mom would have sat her down and fed her and asked her 6 questions in a row and told her she was too skinny. You know she would have. Yeah. Bring him back, Ethan. I will, Shan. Tuesday night. She hugged him, hard. Tyler came running out with his backpack and she scooped him up and carried him to the car like he was 4 years old, and he let her. They drove off. Claire came out onto the porch. Ready? Yeah. Ethan. Yeah. Thank you for your sister. She's a lot. She loves you like I wish somebody had loved me. Claire. Let's go. The Birchwood was a quiet restaurant on a side street in St. Petersburg with wood paneling that had been there since the 60s. Marcus had a table by the window. Claire and Ethan had a private booth in the back. Edward walked in at 5 of 1. He was 74 years old, white-haired, thin, wearing a navy suit that was too big through the shoulders because it had belonged to a younger man with a longer reach. He walked in, and he saw Claire, and he stopped in the middle of the floor. Claire Bear. His voice broke on it. Uncle Edward? He did not move. Uncle Edward, come sit down. He walked over. He sat. He put both his hands flat on the table like a man about to be sentenced. Who is this? This is Ethan Campbell. Ethan. Sir. Are you? He's a friend, Edward. A friend? Yes. Edward looked at Ethan. Son, what do you do? I'm a project manager. Construction. I have a 7-year-old boy. A boy. Tyler. Tyler. Yes, sir. Edward looked back at Claire. His eyes filled. Claire Bear. I did not know you had a friend. I didn't, until 3 days ago. 3 days ago. I walked into the Gulf of Mexico, and he pulled me out. Edward put his hand over his mouth. Claire. I wasn't trying to. I don't think. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I don't remember walking in. I only remember him pulling me out. Claire Bear. Uncle Edward. Claire. Oh God. Claire. I need to ask you something. Yes. And I need you to tell me the truth. Yes, Claire Bear. Anything. What does David have on you? Edward's whole body froze. The muscles in his face went slack and then tight, like a man who had been waiting 19 months for a door to open and could not believe it had opened right now in this restaurant across from the face of his dead brother's daughter. Claire. Uncle Edward? How? Marcus found it. The email trail, the meeting at the Yale Club, the stock transfer for Tommy. Oh, Jesus. What does he have on you? Edward's hands were shaking. Claire Bear. Uncle Edward, I am not here to punish you. I am not here to yell at you. I need to know what David has on you so that I can take it away from him before tomorrow morning. Edward stared at her. You. Yes. You came here to help me. Yes. Edward put both of his hands over his face. He cried like an old man cries, without sound, just shoulders shaking, breath coming out wet and broken between his fingers. Ethan reached across the table and put his hand on Edward's wrist. Sir? Edward looked up at him. Son, take your time. Son, you don't know. I don't need to know. Take your time. Edward nodded. He wiped his face with a cloth napkin. Claire Bear. Yes. Tommy. Tommy. David came to me in April of last year. He had photographs of Tommy. Claire went still. Photographs of Tommy at a party, in college, with drugs, with I don't know what. Things that would ruin his life, Claire. He's 11. He wasn't in any photograph. I mean his father. Your cousin Michael. Michael was in photographs. From 2007. From a party. David had them, Claire. He had them digital. He had them printed. He said, Edward, you do this for me, and these never see daylight. And Tommy goes to Exeter the way he's supposed to, and Michael keeps his firm, and the Ashford name stays clean. He said, Edward was choking on the words. He said, Edward, you know what this would do to Claire, on top of everything else. She already lost her father. She lost her mother last year. She lost everyone. If this comes out about Michael, Claire loses the last cousin she has left. Do this quiet thing for me, Edward, and she never has to know. Edward pressed his knuckles against his mouth. I did it for you, Claire Bear. He said I was doing it for you. He said you were already breaking and this would finish you. He said, Claire. He said if I fought him, he'd send the photographs to the Journal, to Bloomberg, to every single outlet that has ever run a story on us. Tommy would never get into any school. Michael would never work again. The firm, the family, everything your father built. Uncle Edward. Claire Bear. Listen to me. Yes. Michael went to rehab in 2008. Yes. He has been sober for 18 years. Yes. If David releases those photographs on Tuesday, every person who reads Bloomberg will know that Michael Ashford hit bottom at 22 and clawed himself back. That is not a scandal. That is a testimony. Edward stared at her. Claire Bear. Uncle Edward. Did you not see it? I, a father of 3 who has been sober since 2008. David has been holding an 18-year-old photograph over your head for a year, and you have been sitting on it alone, and you have been destroying yourself and me and our whole family because he told you it was a scandal. Uncle Edward. It is not a scandal. It is a story. And it is not his story to tell. It is Michael's. And Michael will tell it. Tomorrow, from the floor of our building. If he needs to. Edward was crying again. Claire Bear. Uncle Edward. I betrayed you. You were scared. I betrayed your father. My father would have done the same thing to save me. Claire. Uncle Edward. Listen to me. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, you are going to walk into that boardroom with me. You are going to sit on my side of the table. You are going to vote with me. And David Reinhardt is going to look across the room and see the one chair he was counting on sitting next to mine instead of his. And he is going to know before I have said a single word that it is over. Do you understand me? Claire. Do you understand me? Yes, Claire Bear. Good. She reached across the table and took both his hands in hers. Uncle Edward. Yes. Call Michael. Tonight. Tell him everything. Ask his permission to use his story. He will give it to you. He has been sober for 18 years, and he is not ashamed, and he will give it to you. I can't. Claire, how do I? You say, Michael, I love you. I have been carrying something for a year, I am sorry. That's how you start. Claire Bear. I know. You came here to save me. Yes, I flew here this morning thinking you were going to scream at me. I know. I flew here thinking I deserved it. I know, you didn't. Claire. Uncle Edward. Your father would be proud of you. She did not cry. Her jaw trembled once and held. I hope so. They ate. Edward had soup. He could not manage more. He kept putting his hand on Claire's wrist like he needed to check she was still there. Ethan ate quietly. Claire ate half a chicken sandwich and did not apologize for any of it. When the check came, Edward reached for his wallet. Uncle Edward? Claire Bear. I've got it. No, I've got it. He sat back. Claire? Yes? I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make this right. Uncle Edward, you already started. She paid the check. They walked out to the parking lot together. Marcus was waiting by the car. Edward stopped in front of Ethan. Son? Sir? You pulled her out of the water. Yes, sir. Son, listen to me. Yes, sir. I was married to her aunt for 41 years. I buried my wife in 2020. I buried my brother in 2000. I have been the only man in that girl's life since she was 12 years old, and I have not done a good enough job. Sir, you are going to do a better one. Sir, we're just... Son. Sir, I know what my niece's face looks like when she is alone. I have seen it for 19 years. She is not wearing it today. You have a 7-year-old son, and you pulled her out of the Gulf of Mexico, and you came here with her to sit across from me, and I am an old man, and I am telling you, you are going to do a better job. Ethan could not speak for a moment. Yes, sir. Good. Edward hugged Claire. He held on a long time. Marcus opened the car door for him. Tomorrow, Claire Bear. Tomorrow, Uncle Edward. The car pulled away. Claire stood in the parking lot with her hand over her mouth. Ethan did not touch her. After a minute, she lowered her hand. Ethan? Yeah. Let's go to New York. The plane was small and white, and the seats were leather, and Ethan had never in his life been on anything like it. He sat across from Claire. Marcus sat 2 rows back reading the briefing packet. Claire looked out the window until they were at altitude. Then she turned. Ethan. Yeah. Thank you. Claire. For lunch. For your hand on his wrist. For telling him to take his time. For not making him explain it twice. For sitting in a booth across from my uncle in a collared shirt on a Sunday. For all of it. Claire. Yeah. You did that, not me. Ethan Campbell. Yeah. Go to sleep. I can't sleep on a plane. Try. He closed his eyes. He slept. The car from the airport took them to Claire's building. A doorman whose face did something when he saw her, a small, tight professional thing that Ethan read as your back. Claire nodded at him. Hector. Ms. Ashford. Morning tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. The elevator went up. Her apartment was the top floor. It was as big as 3 of Ethan's houses. He did not comment on it. He put his duffel bag on the chair she pointed to. Guest room is down that hall. Okay. Ethan? Yeah. If you want a drink, there's a bar in the kitchen. If you're hungry, Maria will make you anything. If you can't sleep, my office has a TV. Claire. Yeah. You go to bed. I'm going to sit at your kitchen counter with a glass of water until you fall asleep. Then I'm going to go to bed. Same as any other night. She laughed. Quiet. Okay. Claire. Yeah. You're ready. Yeah. Go to bed. She went. Ethan sat at the kitchen counter with a glass of water. Marcus came in and sat beside him. Neither of them spoke. At midnight, Marcus got up and went to check the door, and then he went to bed. Ethan rinsed his glass, put it in the sink. He went to the guest room. He did not sleep much. The boardroom was on the 42nd floor. Claire walked in at 8:58. Edward walked in 2 minutes before her and sat on the right side of the table. Ethan waited in her office down the hall. He did not read a magazine. He sat on the couch. He did not drink the coffee Maria had brought him. He stared at a photograph on Claire's desk, her father in a suit laughing, taken in 1996 based on the frame. Maybe earlier. He waited. Inside the boardroom, a woman who had been pulled out of the Gulf of Mexico 72 hours earlier sat down at the head of a table she had inherited from her father and she looked at David Reinhardt, and she smiled. David Reinhardt's face did something. Claire. David. David. Before we start. Claire. Please let me. David. I have the emails. I have the photograph of you and my uncle at the Yale Club in November. I have the stock transfer paperwork. I have the communications with Bloomberg. I have the communications with a reporter at the Journal that Marcus found at 2 a.m. this morning. I have in this room 9 voting members of this board, and before you say one word, I would like you to understand that the vote you whipped no longer exists because Edward is sitting on my side of this table, and Linda Park is going to be the next person to do so. Because Linda, I know about the vice chair offer, and I am going to match it in 3 minutes. Linda Park looked up. Claire? Linda, vice chair. Today, clean, no strings. I need a yes or a no before this meeting ends. Claire, Take your time. David stood up. Claire, this is irregular. Sit down, David. I will not sit. David, sit. Down. He sat. David, I am going to speak, and you are going to listen. And when I am done, I am going to ask for a vote, and the vote is going to be on a motion that I am about to make, and that motion is that you are removed from this company for cause effective immediately, without severance, without equity, and with a non-disparagement agreement that runs in one direction, which is mine. Do you understand me? Claire. Do you understand me? He did not answer. Carter. Carter Voss looked up. Carter, I know you're scared. I know about the short. I know you're overexposed. I am going to tell you right now in this room that the company is about to have its best quarter in 6 years. The numbers are on your desk this afternoon. If you vote with me today, you have my word, and my word has not been worth nothing for 19 years. Carter, that we will extend you the same courtesy I am extending Linda. Do the right thing. Carter swallowed. Yes, Claire. Yes to what? Yes to the motion. Thank you, Carter. She turned. Linda. Yes, Claire. Yes to what? Yes to vice chair. Yes to the motion. Thank you, Linda. She turned. She looked at David. David. Claire. David, I gave you your career. Claire, please. I made you chief operating officer at 31. I gave you equity that my father would not have given his own nephew. I took you to my mother's funeral last year because you told me you wanted to pay your respects, and I sat next to you while they lowered her casket, and you held my hand, and you told me I was not alone. David, last October, when I was in Cleveland in the waiting room of my mother's surgery, do you remember what you sent? Claire, I said, do you remember? Yes. Say it out loud, in this room. Claire, David, in this room, or I will read it for you. David was crying. He was crying the way a man cries who has been caught and who has not stopped to understand until right now what he had done and who is realizing in real time in front of his colleagues that he has destroyed his own life for a chair he was never going to sit in. I'm sorry, Claire. David. I don't have words. David, I do not need your apology. I need your resignation, on my desk, by 10 o'clock. Claire. David. Please. David. Resignation. 10 o'clock. And then you are going to leave this building, and you are going to get into a car, and you are going to go home to your wife, and you are going to tell her everything because she is a good woman, and she deserves to hear it from you before she hears it from anyone else. Do you understand me? He nodded. He could not speak. All those in favor of the motion. 7 hands went up. Edward's first. Then Patricia. Then Howard. Then Denise. Then Carter. Then Linda. Then Claire's. 7-2. David, you are excused. He stood up. He walked to the door. At the door he stopped, and he turned, and he looked at her. Claire. Yes, David. For what it's worth. What? I should have asked you if you were tired. David? Yeah. Yes. You should have. He left. The room was quiet. Claire put her hands flat on the table. Edward. Yes, Claire Bear. Thank you. Claire Bear. Later. Go call Michael. He got up. He walked out. Claire turned to the rest of the room. All right. We have a company to run. Ethan was still sitting on the couch in her office when the door opened at 10:20. She walked in. She did not speak. She crossed the room. She sat down next to him. She leaned her head against his shoulder. He did not move. Ethan? Yeah, I did it. I know. Edward voted with me. I know. David is gone. I know. I'm tired. I know. Ethan. Yeah. Can we go home? Yeah, Claire. We can go home. They flew back that night. Tyler was asleep on Shannon's couch when they walked into Shannon's house. Claire sat on the floor next to him and put her hand very gently on his back and did not wake him up. Shannon stood in the doorway of the kitchen with her arms crossed and her eyes wet, and she did not say anything. She did not have to. 6 months later, on a Saturday morning in April, Ethan stood in his kitchen cracking eggs into a bowl. Tyler was on the living room floor teaching a golden retriever puppy named Biscuit 2 to sit. Claire was at the table with a mug of coffee and a Buccaneers t-shirt that was now technically hers, reading glasses, on marking up a proposal Patricia Vance had sent her at 6 a.m. Shannon was coming over for lunch. Edward was flying down Wednesday. Michael, sober 19 years now, had called Claire on Tuesday and told her he loved her, and that he had not told her enough. Claire looked up from her pages. Ethan? Yeah. Your son asked me last night if he could call me something other than Miss Claire. Ethan set the whisk down. Yeah. What did he ask? He asked if he could call me Claire. That's all, Ethan. He's 7. He's not asking for anything bigger than that. He just wants to drop the miss. Claire. Yeah. What did you say? She took off her glasses. She looked at him across the kitchen. I said yes. He walked over to the table. He put his hands on her shoulders. She put her hand over his on her shoulder and kept it there. Ethan? Yeah. I walked into the Gulf of Mexico. I know. You ran. Yeah. I'm not walking into any water, ever again. Ethan, do you hear me? I hear you, Claire. Good. Tyler from the living room floor, without looking up from the puppy, called out, Dad, Claire, Biscuit 2 just sat. Good job, bud. He did it because of me. I know he did. He did it because I'm patient. Claire laughed into her coffee. Ethan stood behind her chair with his hands on her shoulders, in a house that had held only grief and pancake syrup for 8 years. And he understood finally fully, with the kind of knowing that does not come from thought, but from bone, that a man does not save a stranger from the water because he is a hero. A man runs across a beach for a stranger because somewhere deep inside him he already knows he has not stopped running toward his own life either. And maybe, if he is very, very lucky, the stranger he is running toward turns out to be the one person in the whole loud world who was running back. She had walked into the sea believing no one would come. He had come. And together in a small kitchen in Tampa with a boy and a puppy and a pot of coffee between them, they built the one thing neither of them had ever been able to build alone, a life in which no one ever again would have to go under to be seen.